Time Warner Cable and Metro Sports presents RacinBoys TV with Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott. A look at racing in the Midwest and around the country. Brought to you in part by McCarthy Chevrolet and RacinBoys.com.
Welcome to RacinBoys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet here on Time Warner Cable's Metro Sports. I'm Scott Traylor along with Kirk Elliott from Sports Radio 810 WHB and RacinBoys.com. Kirk, we are at Kansas Speedway, the first time since they tore up the pavement out here, and it looks like they're making a lot of progress. They have the first layer of pavement laid down.
Yeah, we were out here, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it was a dirt track here at Kansas Speedway, but they've got, as you mentioned, the layer of pavement laid down. They still got a lot of work to do. The road course under construction right now, but it's just amazing, as you mentioned, just how far they've come along in a short period of time. But they do have time constraints. They got to get everything done so they can do tire testing before they come back here October 21st weekend for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and Nationwide.
Kirk, there's a lot of work still to go on the infield as well. The road course is a big portion of what they're doing here this year with the repave.
That's right, and there's going to be future projects here for the infield as well that will come down the road, but the track looks a lot different just eyeballing the racetrack. You see the more banking down into the corners this time.
Well, it's time for this week's report on last weekend's action around the local and national motorsport scene, and this is Kirk Elliott's report.
Weekly racing action at Lakeside Speedway continued last Friday night on Metro Sports in the Premier Modified class. 87 Darren Fuqua powers up the middle between Nick Bittinger in the 15 and 77 Cody Angler on the outside. Fuqua scores his second feature win of the season.
We had the car hooked up good on the bottom. We set it up, changed the gear for the feature just to run the bottom, and just hoped and prayed. We kind of R&D tonight because of the USMTS show.
The Grand National class has been wild over the last few weeks, and last Friday was no exception. After the 23-car field received the green flag from starter Terry Wantland, Don Mars in the 9 gets sideways in turn 1 and collects Jim Baker and 4 others. Lots of damage here, but no one was hurt. Ben Kyle in the 45 motors on to his second win in 3 weeks.
I just got out there and stayed out there and taking signals from my pit crew out there, and keeping the greasy side down was an important thing once I got out front. So this old girl was hooking and booking.
In B-Mods, no one has been hotter than Mike Higley. Here he makes the move to the outside on veteran Gene Claxton, making the pass for the lead stick through turns 3 and 4. After starting 7th, Higley notches his 3rd straight feature victory.
This Razor chassis has been amazing. I started 7th, 8th, something like that, worked the bottom. Everybody was down there, it was really fast, so I thought we'd go up and try it on the fence, and man, that thing just flew around the top. Whole crate motor only turned about 5,900 RPMs and made all kinds of power and brought home the 3rd one in a row.
A dominant performance in factory stocks. Nate Barnes became the 10th different winner of the season.
My brother was running up front, Jay, and I didn't think I'd do anything on the outside, but I went ahead and tried it. Took me a couple laps, but ended up getting around him. And
lots of trophies and money on the line at one of Kansas City's big karting events of the year. The first annual Firecracker 500 took place Saturday right across the road from Lakeside at Thunder Lake Speedway. Racers from the very young to the more experienced taking part.
Well, in a lot of other forms of motorsports, you're not allowed to do much to the tires. You run a very spec tire. You just pretty much mount it and race it. However, in kart racing, we're allowed to true the tire on a machine, chemically enhance the tire from the inside and out, and that is what sets our sport apart, and that's what makes it very specialized, is knowing how to do that properly and what track conditions call for such things.
Scott Racing is among the favorites to battle Halliburton for the $1,000 top prize. In the junior classes, all eyes are on Trevor Hand.
I won Junior 1 Light and Heavy last year, and I'm leading my points this year in Junior 1 Heavy and Light. At the end of the day, I think about what place I'm in, and I try to get up front and try and win so I can win the points championship this year too.
Karting brings families together, including Kansas City's own Shepherd family.
Oldest grandson, he got old enough to race. Aiden, he got 5, so his dad put him in a kart, and we just kind of all migrated back to karts again. The boys got back in it, the dads, and now we got the grandsons, and you know, it's just a big family affair.
Early evening as temperatures begin to fall, qualifying nearing completion, and now it's time to go racing for the big prizes. The day's final event saw Mike Halliburton in the 87 take the early lead, hounded very closely by Kenny Murphy in the 28, and the rest of the 22 kart field bunched up close behind. But in the end, it was Murphy taking home the $1,000.
Mikey Halliburton took off, and I didn't know if I'd be able to catch him, but eventually caught him and only made a few mistakes, so hung on for the win. Yeah, it's always kind of scary on dirt because you never know how the tires are going to relight, but luckily they did okay and must have made some of the right moves.
Trevor Hand ended up with 2 victories on the day, and also victorious were Eli Woody, Jeff Elder, Mike Seminara, and Joe Womachill. Halliburton's 87 grabbed 2 checkers in the stock classes, with Devin Peterson winning in Junior 2.
To start today, we've been here all day long. When I say 12 hours, that's probably an understatement for me. I rolled in here about 9 o'clock to get this event rolling. I'm certain it's a little bit after 12 something now, but you know, we had a terrific night. First annual Firecracker 500, Thunder Lake Speedway, and we had some awesome racing. And as you can see in the background, we're just now rolling out a tech for our first and last race here. All in all, a great first event for us. Thunder Lake, we hope to bring this back and make this an annual event.
Next event at Thunder Lake Speedway, July 21st.
Well, congratulations out to all last week's winners from RacinBoys TV. Kirk, I know that the Kansas Speedway, the workers out here right now are dealing with these extreme conditions. We're out here filming today. We're just right here on the concrete by the media center. They're out there laying that asphalt down. Boy, we got to think of these guys. They're really working their tail off to get this track done.
They've done a great job, and they have, I think, maybe even got ahead of schedule, as they're going to have to do tire tests before they come back here in October. They still got quite a bit of work to do yet, but you know, you look at some of the recent repave jobs at Michigan and Pocono. A lot of people were concerned back in April what kind of racing we'd see on new pavement out here. I think we're going to see great pavement. I mean, you look at the progressive banking down in the corners. I think the side-by-side action is going to be pretty prevalent out here when they come back in the fall.
I know the fans are looking forward to it. I know we are looking forward to it. I got to believe in the staff here at Kansas Speedway have done their homework, and they're going to make this track as racy as possible. I think the practice session is going to help a lot. They're going to have the Richard Petty cars out here making a lot of laps. I'm sure they're going to drag a lot of tires. Look for a big effort from Kansas Speedway to make this track 2 grooves come this fall. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go over to Independence, and we're going to visit with Huey at Day Automotive, one of the icons in motorsports on the local racing scene. Stay tuned for more of RacinBoys TV. We'll be back in a moment.
Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay, but you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy, or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
Welcome back to RacinBoys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. I'm Scott Traylor, just down the road from RacinBoys HQ. I'm at Day Automotive. If anybody knows anything about motorsports, they know who Day Automotive is here in Independence. Huey, the owner of Day Automotive, has been a great supporter of local racing since 1973, building motors, selling parts, keeping people in racing for all these years. And we thought it was fitting to go in and talk to them about the state of the economy, where racing has came from, where it is headed, and what direction. And this is that conversation I had a little bit earlier with Huey over here at Day Automotive.
We had a shop over on Wilson Road, and we used to hang out together, and my friend John Day worked in a machine shop, and he had a friend that come back from the Navy and had a little money, so we ended up buying this building and moved in here and brought our racing operation here, and was just a plaything really. And then first thing you know, we started doing work for other people, and bingo, Day Automotive started. Prior to actually the Day Automotive started, and I worked for a gentleman called Jim Hager. He was really the backbone that started me into racing. My older brother raced as I was a kid, but in the old jalopy days, but Jim Hager's the one that really brought racing in my life. And I worked for him, and that's all we done was raced. I mean, I worked on race cars for him day in, day out, all night, whatever it took to get to the track. And that's how it all started. When you start doing engines for people, and You know, we was with Mike Kempton in his NASCAR days, and back when Bivens and all them drove, and we built engines for him, and did a lot of the ASA stuff. And I can recall just to mention an ASA race they had at I-70 Speedway one time, and in the early 80s probably, and I remember they had 6 blown motors, and they brought them all here between my shop and Goober's shop. They was out front, out back. Dick Trickle's motor was right there where you're standing, and I rebuilt that in the middle of the night. He went out and won the race the next day. It was the junkyard theme back then. I mean, you got all your parts from a salvage yard, and that's where it all came from. There wasn't no go to the place and buy from Huey and get the parts. You had to go to the junkyard and get an A-arm or a transmission or whatever you want to be able to race the next day. So that's the way that all handled. So that's, you know, that's how it all started, and then the technology started marching from there with the computers and all the stuff. You know, you're kind of talking about the era of everybody fabricated their own things, everybody manufactured their own things, everybody had their own parts system to get where they needed to be. You know, you had a friend that worked at the junkyard, or you had a friend that overhauled motors in his garage or whatever, and everybody, it was the thing then, where today all that stuff is completely different, opposite. And you know, it's just a matter of coming up with them parts and pieces, and the money it takes to do this today is phenomenal. The technologies today is what's marched into this, the computer systems, the CNC machines to manufacture the parts are 10 times faster. You can program up any piece now and make 100 of them by the time we used to make 1 back then. Well, I can tell you that Speedy Bill has protected the small businessman like me. He helps me with free freight and things like that to entice me to purchase my parts from him, to be able to save the racer $1 to keep him racing. We try to service the racers. That's our main objective. That's good for business, plus it's good relationships with your customers. And that's my whole goal and why I do that. I want to make sure the racers have fuel to race with, the racers have tires to race with, they need a tie rod to fix their car, I got it. It's hard sometimes to go to the races every weekend, especially at my age now. But I still love racing. I can't quit. I love it, and it's part of my life. It always has been my life, so we'll continue to do it. Been a successful life for me, very happy, and I don't have anything that stands out like that. You know, we won a lot of races, won a lot of championships, met a phenomenal amount of people, and just love every minute of it. Still do it. You know, Tony's always had a desire. He's the kind of the genius of the motor department here. He's always had that drive and desire to work on engines and develop horsepower, and you know, whether it's port and cylinder heads or whatever it takes, you know, just like the cars he races in an NHRA Superstock. It's phenomenal how fast they go with a little 2-barrel carburetor sitting on top of them and things. And it's just that drive for him to make that horsepower that keeps him going today. You know, he comes to work every day, just like today we're sending out a NHRA 409 Chevy motor to race on a national tour deal. It's a phenomenal deal that you have that technologies to do all that stuff. Oh yeah, there's people from every aspect comes in here, and you just try to service everybody's needs, whatever that is, and listen to their problem and try to make them better at what they do, and they pay you to do that. We've been messing around a lot of things. We got an internet site now too that we've been trying to escalate into something, and it's dayraceparts.com. And then we've got involved with some Chinese people on this RaceGator transmissions, and we've been selling these all over the country and doing extremely well with this thing. It is phenomenal. I've been to the IMIS show a couple of times with it, and I'm proud to be a developer of this transmission and what it has done for us as far as being able to market these and learning how to market pieces over the internet and things like that. and we got a lot of top runners running our transmissions now that's doing an extremely good job.
Well, there you have it, one of the local icons in motorsports here in the greater Kansas City area. Day Automotive has kept a lot of people in racing over the years, and without them, guys like myself, when we couldn't afford to race the next week, we came in, asked for a little credit. Huey gave us that credit so we could get there to that next race, and I'm telling you, he has done that for countless people over the years, and we all owe him a great deal of thanks for doing so. When we come back, we're going to move into the engine shop here at Day Automotive.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinions, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
Welcome back to Racing Boys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. I'm Scott Traylor, again out here at Day Automotive in Independence, Missouri. We've talked to Huey up in the front where all the parts are sold. Now let's move back into the engine shop and talk to Tony and talk about his success as an engine builder since 1978 here at Day Automotive.
I'd been an auto mechanic on and off, and worked at the Kansas City Star as a pressman. And right before that, I'd worked at a transmission shop over here in Independence. And I'd been associated with Day Automotive for quite a while. I'd known John and Huey and Gary Potter for several years. And it was kind of a in between jobs, quit one job and come by here and said, hey, you need a little help, and kind of started from there. Started out doing valve jobs, and from there just kind of worked my way in. You know, really liked it. Enjoyed it doing part-time before that, and then really got into it once I got here. We did a lot of drag motors. I was especially into drag racing at that time when I came here. That was my big interest, and of course it was kind of a good split because Huey liked the circle track racing more than he did drag racing. But once we got associated with each other, it kind of blended in really good together. Yeah. But we do a lot of nostalgia stuff. We do total rebuilding of engines, actually restoring the engine for a restored automobile. And we do a lot of street motors for performance that people like, you know, build things to fit their application, you know, for whether it be an original car or a street ride application. And we just do various things. That's what keeps us. It's the variety of things that we are able to do. You know, still some circle track, still some drag racing, nostalgia, restorations, and kind of keeps us afloat with all the variety of things we're able to do. Where you don't have, there's a variety of things that you won't have any control over at a racetrack. Combinations like wind, traction, various track conditions, you know, or air conditions. You haven't got an idea where you're at. Well, we can set the engine up here on the dyno to where it'll run in a 20 or 25 degree area span without changing a jet or anything else. And then you work on your car and just race it and not have to worry about your engine when we get finished with it. When you have good drivers and stuff like that, you know, people that you can put engines in that actually can go out and utilize the changes that you've made. We've always been always trying to work with something, make something that it's not supposed to be. You know, you work with a 2-barrel carburetor, it's not supposed to make power, not supposed to do these things, and you figure out a way to squeeze that baby until, you know, until it just hurts. Yeah. You know, and then of course, like I say, if you get a good driver, they can apply that, it makes it even better. Yeah, crankshafts and rods have come full circle. I don't know that they can ever really get these things any better. They've got them down to the point with the metals that they're made out of, as light as they are, and a way that, especially with the way that they're able to make pistons. Pistons are probably, technology is probably the best of all the changes of crankshafts and even rods, because they've been able to make those very strong but ultra lightweight, which makes it a lot easier on the rest of the components to be able to survive. Allows us with the dyno, especially with the accuracy of the Superflow dyno, we're able to change oils, jetting, work on carburetors, various things that show minute changes that you can't find anywhere else but here. You know, you would spend a lifetime trying to find these things on the racetrack, and we save that time and trouble and here and get really, really close to the race or street application that you're going to be using. And without this, say for instance, you know, I set a national record in 2010 with my NHRA GTKA car. I would have never got there making the, almost 500 horsepower with a Rochester 2-barrel without this dyno. It's just impossible. The negatives is that your decisions are on your own. You don't get to bounce things off of people, as much when you're working with somebody, and you're kind of talking to yourself a lot, like, what do you think, and
Right.
and it's really nice if you got somebody really bright that you're talking to, working with, that you can talk about things back and forth and make these ideas sound really viable when you're trying to work on an engine or something like that. And then there are the good things that when you are making a decision that you don't want to be interfered with, and as far as being alone and stuff like that, where when you get down to it, that you can actually go ahead and say, okay, this is mine. And then but the only thing is, you can't blame anybody when it's all said and done. Right. We are like family. We've been together for so long, and he's been very supportive of all the ideas and things that I've come up with. And he was, back before that I actually started for myself in '85. I actually took over the business in '85 in the back. Before that, it was like gung-ho, Tony, you need it, no problem. He'll get it. We were drag racing and stuff like that and having a good time and making things happen. Well, we considered at least keeping up, if not getting ahead of local people, with ideas and stuff. He's always been super supportive of that, financially and emotionally, like always there for me, to help me whenever I needed it. So, and those things haven't changed.
Tony does a great job with the motors here at Day Automotive. I recommend if you need some good horsepower and you're in the Kansas City metro area, one of the great places to go to is Day Automotive. Tony and Huey doing a great job supporting the local racing community since 1973. When we come back, more of Racing Boys TV brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet right here on Metro Sports.
Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay, but you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
Welcome back to Racing Boys TV, brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet here on Time Warner Cable's Metro Sports. I'm Scott. He's Kirk, and Kirk, one of the young and up-and-coming drivers here on the local racing scene. He's won a lot of championships already at a young age, is a second-generation driver, Aaron Marrant.
And he's been a very busy racer this year, running both an A mod and a B mod at Lakeside Speedway this year. And he hasn't been real happy with his performance so far. There's been a lot of bad luck on his side that he hopes to shake real soon.
Well, we're working. Like I said, it's been the troubles we've been having. We've been fast when we have trouble. So we're just working on trying to get the car back going and back fixed and back in good shape, so maybe we can finish some of these races. And I think as soon as we can finish, we're going to be good. Because then when you're struggling, that's exactly what you tell yourself. You're like, I know I can do it. We just got to get everything right and everything back going good, and we can win. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I actually thought the V-Mod would just kind of be, just run itself and keep going. But it seems like this year it's been quite the amount of work, but I mean, I have enough fun doing it, so it's all worth it. That's what my dad tells me. He said, we got in that B-Mod class a couple years too late. He's like, because, yeah, it seems like everybody's getting a B-Mod anymore. Well, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I've wanted to give up more than once this year because, I mean, it just seems like don't matter what we do, something happens. But the only thing that's keeping it going is we're really fast, and every time something does happen, we're running really good. So we ran go-karts from the time I was like 10 till about 16, and I was really successful in that. And then we decided we watched the races, about like any race fan, come out here and decided we was going to give it a try, and bought a modified, got in it. The very first couple times out, it was a little rough, and then we bought another car, and as soon as we bought that other car, it's just like bam, and then went to the front and started running good.
There's a guy that I think, Kirk, has a lot of upside potential, really well-spoken, good driver, has great family support, which is always important when you're racing at the grassroots level. But given the chance, I think Aaron Marrant might be able to go to that next level.
Yeah, I think so. And what a great championship points racer he is. He's already won 2 titles at the old Central Missouri Speedway, and to keep 2 cars racing at the same time, that's quite a feat. but he's been able to pull that off to a large degree so far here in 2012.
Well, that's it. Another Racing Boys TV show in the books. We want to thank Huey over at Day Automotive, along with Tony Shaffer and Aaron Marrant for being a part of this week's show. For now, we'll see you next time on Racing Boys TV.